Om Sai Ram, Vandanam, Namaskar, Vanakkam, Salaam Alaikum. As we begin 2021 and we ride into the new year, I'm inspired to do a weekly session, brief session called Reflections, where I take a word or an expression and just say a few things about that word or phrase or expression so that as we navigate this week or the week that is to come, we can reflect on this, and hopefully it will navigate our path and keep us in tune with the thought of positive thinking, God, and so on and so forth. And tomorrow is the beginning of a new year where, from a horoscope perspective or from an astrological perspective, the movement of the planets indicate, the brighter part of 6 months, which is yet to come. It's called Sankranti, and it is referred to in various other names throughout India, different parts of India. So with that, I want to start with something called hope, H-O-P-E, hope. Sometimes it's interesting that the things we cherish most are the same things we tend to walk right by. And then they become so intertwined that ultimately it becomes impossible to tell them apart from our day-to-day, life. It's impossible to tell them apart until things really change, because that is life. And you never really know what you have until it's gone. And sometimes it takes the most abrasive of our minds or the harshest of times to, put us on the straight and narrow. For example, sometimes God needs to throw a brick in order to get our attention, It's not, what we do with our time, it's how we spend it, with who we spend it. And in that moment of silence, that quietness brings clarity to a world that is currently in turmoil, that, sometimes we get carried away in this turmoil and we don't know what to do because everybody seems to be in a problem. But someday we'll look back at all these moments, all these trials and tribulations, through all our hardships, that this, is basically an attempt by nature to mold the human spirit, so that it becomes unwavering in its resolve, unbreakable, so that we become much more stronger. Sometimes we have to look around and find a reason to be optimistic, to understand, to comprehend. A candle flickering in the night will eventually grow to light our way. And that is what hope is. It is a little candle. And even if you take a dark room, but you light one candle, the light of the little candle will completely brighten up the entire room. And that's what hope is all about. So, short story on hope. During the Second World War, there was a boat, a steamer carrying lots of soldiers, that got bombarded by the enemy and began to sink. Many people lost their lives. There were about 4 or 5 who got onto a lifeboat, and with a chance of survival, they started to row the boat. But the ocean was tossing them about for many hours. And out of the 5, the first one said, the sea is going to swallow me. I'll become a meal for the sharks. And soon enough, in that panic, he got drowned. The second fellow thought, I should have made more arrangements with everything that I needed doing because I'm going to die. And soon enough, he also fell victim to the sea. The third one thought about what he should have done with his, important documents back home. And he was so fearful of death that the fear actually, threw him overboard. But the other 2 fellows, they were just sitting silently, holding the boat that was rocking. And soon enough, a helicopter came by that had received, distress signals from the boat before it sunk, and, gently took these 2 soldiers back to the shore. when one of them said to the other, "What were you thinking when all the other three fell off the boat?" He said, "I wasn't thinking anything. I was just hoping for a miracle." "What was you thinking? What were you thinking?" And the other fellow said, "I was hoping as well." So when you have hope, everything else becomes a possibility. Until next Thursday, stay blessed. Sai Ram.